chicken versus chocolate. We're going to talk about the differences here. And some of them are going to be obvious to you, some of them not going to be obvious. So stay tuned to better understand calorie control. Because on paper, both of these have 300 calories. But our body responds to them quite differently, okay? And we're going to kind of elaborate on what that means. So if you're watching live, type live in the comments. If you happen to be on the replay, type replay. I've got a little cool gift for those who stick it out to the end. These are roughly typically 5 minutes in length, okay? Lois, regular viewer, client is on live, as is Marie. So let's talk about this whole debate of all that matters is calories you have on one side. As long as you eat less than your body needs to maintain its weight, you'll lose weight. Then there's this other extreme where it's just about hormones. And if you control insulin, you'll lose fat. No matter how much bacon you eat on your keto diet, somehow you'll lose fat. And in fact, this may surprise you. I mean, if you got to lean towards one more than the other, calories for sure. But there is a bit of a gray area in the middle, which is the ideal place. And we're going to talk about that today. Okay? Because hormones do play a role. All right, Jason, welcome. Michael on live. Good. So let's talk about this chicken versus chocolate debate and how you probably understand that chocolate's a worse choice for you over the chicken, but you may not fully understand why or grasp why, because they're both 300 calories according to the calorie composition. But it goes much deeper than that, okay? So what the chicken will do is it's primarily protein, which is that, that muscle building macronutrient that has, a really satiating effect. It's pretty hard to overeat chicken, right? 3 chicken breasts, you're going to be full for the better part of the day. Whereas if you eat a chocolate bar, you're going to want more chocolate. And it's because it affects how your brain responds, but also that macro breakdown, okay? So if something's mostly protein, high thermic effect. So as much as 30% of the calories in that chicken breast simply don't count. They're burned off in the digestive process because, it's a thick chicken breast. For your body to break that down, it requires calorie burn to do it. Okay? So that's why protein is such a key macronutrient when you're trying to lose weight and eat less calories. It's going to fill you up, maintain muscle. It does a lot of good things, but we're just talking about that calorie composition here. Whereas the chocolate bar, it's mostly fat, sugar, and the thermic effect of those nutrients, maybe 5%. So you see the difference right there. The calories actually aren't equal because the thermic effect of that chocolate bar is much lower. The second part to it, and this also relates to hormones, is how your brain responds to that chocolate bar, right? It hits all those sensory neuro-lingual responses, that hedonistic desire to crave and binge more and more. And it's sort of that dopamine hit, just like drugs. And you're going to want more. One chocolate bar, if you have more in the house, it can be tough to resist. So whereas the chicken breast, unlikely you're going to crave more and more chicken, no matter how much seasonings you put on that thing. Charlene, we got Andy, and we got Sean. Nice job. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense so far, that the chicken breast simply is less calories in the end because of the thermic effect of it. All right. So it gets more complex when you factor in individual differences. Some people somehow can stop at half a chocolate bar and be content. If you're like me and you give yourself a taste, it's like a drug addict with that sugar, you can't stop. So you kind of need to know how you're wired and what's going to make sense for you. If opening the door a crack leads to a binge and you keep restarting, you're probably going to have to really restrict the bad stuff, right? Whereas some people, their hunger suppressing signals are quicker to act. Whatever it is, there's a lot that goes into it. And they can have a couple squares of chocolate, fit it into their day and be fine. So you kind of need to know where you fall in that spectrum to determine how you diet. Maybe you do have a designated cheat night and go all out, and the rest of the week you're really strict, versus the other person that could probably sneak in a treat every night and not overeat. Okay? So think of food going beyond just the calories. Certainly that's the important part, but how your body responds to it hormonally too. the other factor of hormones is how, if your stress levels are high, you're not sleeping well enough, you're going to crave more foods, you're going to eat more calories versus the person who is sleeping consistently 7 hours a night. So that's where the hormones start to come in and affect calories on the baseline. All right. So what you really want to do is kind of make the 80% of your diet stuff you should be eating, those whole foods. So the chicken breasts, vegetables, the filling starches, the rices, oatmeals, that kind of thing. And then fill in the gaps depending on how you're wired with those sweet treats, those kryptonite foods. If you do that, you should be fine. Again, you probably should know your numbers in terms of calories and try to stick within that. But there's more to the story here. Okay. All right. That essentially summarizes this up. That 300 calories is not created equal depending on the food choice you're eating within those 300 calories. But that's not to say you can't have a mix. It really depends on if you're maintaining or aggressively dieting, hoping to lose, and where that fits for you. All right, I just released a new protein breakfast recipe guide. So people really struggle to get protein in each day, but to start the day with a filling breakfast that's high in protein can be the game changer with whether or not you crave stuff all day or you feel content. So if you want that, type protein below. It's a free recipe book, just hot off the presses from my designer, and we'll get that off to you. I know we got a lot of clients on here, and they have already received it, I believe. But if you haven't, message me. We also have our Drop 2 Sizes Guarantee program. I don't think anyone else is offering results guarantee in fitness because it's ultimately up to the individual to execute. But we're confident in our process that if you don't drop 2 sizes, 2 pant sizes, or 2 belt loops for the men, we will coach you for free until you get to that metric. So it's a win-win. We're assuming all the risk on that. If you want more info on that program, private message me rather than comment in the group. Just private message me interested, and we'll walk you through next steps. Usually we just provide a free consult up front to even confirm if you are a fit and outline how we work. All right. That's it. Have a good, is it Tuesday? Pay attention to those calories. Remember, not all calories are created equal, though. And you should know that by now. All right. Nice job, guys. We will see you again tomorrow. Coffee with Calvert Fitness. Coffee and crunches, in fact. New merch. Very nice. We'll talk to you soon.